Hey gamers, today I'm going to talk about the top 5 best board game expansions of all time, at least according to my collection. Now there's a lot of good expansions. I play with a lot of expansions too. When I was looking over my list, I was like, well, I play with these, but is it the best? You know, so I got the ones that are like, no, I've always got to play with these and it makes the game better. If you did not have these, it would not make the game as good. So my number 5 is Kolhika Ogonek. Man, it gives extra cards, which are really interesting, that change the game. This is a game where you're waiting in line for food, kind of annoying, but it has this is the expansion that has the newspaper, which is the events, which can change the game a lot too. You also have the vodka in there that people will fight over because vodka can be exchanged for something else. And it really elevates the game. And it's sad because Kolhika is easy to get, Ogonek, not as easy. In fact, there is no English version to this game, so you'd have to get it, print out. You can print out the English version and put it in sleeves, I guess, if you want to, and that's what I did. But I did buy the actual game, too. And once I played with it, I was like, this is great. I'm never going to play without it. Ogonek just enhances that game, a game where you're waiting in line for just one item. The whole game's weird, but with Ogonek, it just elevates that game. I will never play without it. You took that away, Kolhika would get old quick. My number 4 is kind of a cheat here, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it because it's all the expansions to Sagrada. It's really weird that they keep making these expansions and so far, not a single one has made the game feel clunky or, weighted down or, makes it feel like a drag. No, it just enhances the ways you can score and it just makes the game more exciting. And I can't believe that after, I don't know how many expansions they've had, like 3 now, 4, I don't know. And each one is just good. I keep waiting for that one and going, nah, it's not necessary. But no, we throw them all in there, or the ones we can, and we have a blast playing Sagrada. And to be honest, if Sagrada was just the base game, I'd still enjoy it, but it would be falling out of my list. It may not even be my top 100 if it wasn't for all the expansions. The expansions just add so many unique, dynamic ways to score. I just never thought they'd do it possible on what's relatively a simple game, right? Getting the dice to not match color or number. It's basically it, right? But then you throw in all these expansions and it just elevates the game. It's incredible. But that is the sole reason Sagrada is still in my top 100 is because of the expansions, which is why it's on this list. Number 3 was an easy one when I thought about it and I kept thinking about it, kept rising up my list. No one really knows much about this game, Samur, but this is Call of the Dragon Lord. This is an extra board that you put on an already huge board. This makes it a big table hog, but it's not annoying and we always play with it because you get a wizard now. You can keep your wizard as a player in the game, which some people would like to do, but we kind of house rule it to where, no, the wizard has to make his journey to the temple. Once he gets to the temple, if he gets to the temple toward the end, then you can utilize him. You can bring him over to the other board and have him as an extra pawn. But the thing is, it gives you another thing to think about while and Samur is basically worker placement, How to Train Your Dragon, excellent game. And at the same time, you're trying to utilize different components to make a spell, I guess, an easy spell or a hard spell. And that lets you move X amount of points. And if you utilize one of those spells, you turn the page, to an easy spell. Hard spell, I think you can keep using. But sometimes you want to do easy spells because each space on the wizard's board gives you a bonus and you want a certain bonus. So you say, well, I got to get the big spell for that. Oh no, I only want the small spell because I want that bonus instead of the big bonus. And it really works with utilizing, because you get lots of resources in this game and sometimes you just don't have enough room, so you just get rid of them. Well, now you can put them in, a little potion and actually get some victory points or get something that you really need, that spearhead you needed or for something else in your other game. And this really balances out and it's almost like you're having to think, okay, how can I exchange this for this and turn this to that? Okay, what have I got here? Ooh, I want to keep this spell, so I won't do this big spell, this large, I can't remember what it is, but one of them you have to turn the page, but one of them you can keep doing forever as long as you don't do the other one. And you're like, oh, I want to keep doing this one because that way I can get this, this, and this, and then I'll do the big one and move over here. It's great. It's great. There's so much to do. If you took away, Samur would still be a good game, but when you put Call the Dragon Lord in there, elevates it so much more. Love this game. Surprised it was on my top 5 here, but when I kept thinking about it, I was like, oh yeah, it is, definitely. Now, here are 2 that I think are just far above the other 3 that I've mentioned. Number 2, I've said this before, Viticulture Tuscany. You have to have that. I think it's part of the Essentials collection. Flip that board over, play with Tuscany, all 4 seasons, all 5 decks, or however many decks there are in the game. It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, never play without Tuscany. Never. Now, I got the Arboriculture expansion too with it. I play with that every so often when I feel like doing something different, but it's not necessary. Tuscany, every time, must play. It is a must play for Viticulture. An incredible game that is made only, I will never play the base game ever again. Ever again. I played it once when I first got it, then flipped it over to Tuscany, never looked back. That's how good an expansion is. And number 1, it shouldn't surprise anyone who knows me, but there's a reason behind this too. Twilight Imperium, Prophecy of Kings. Folks, I was playing Twilight Imperium 3 before this expansion came out. Twilight Imperium 3, actually last year was the first year ever we never played the 3rd edition. And that's because late that year, this expansion came out. When this expansion came out, none of my friends, I knew it was spelled the end of Twilight Imperium 3 for us, because it gave us everything we needed except for those mercenaries. That's the one thing I wish it would have put in there. But other than that, it's a phenomenal expansion. I can't wait to see what they'll do for the next one. But in one expansion, they basically took most of the things and checked them off the box, or just improved on them, which is what this game is supposed to do. And like I said, when I had TI4 and TI3, I forced them to play TI4 the first couple of times, and then they begged to go back to 3. And we've been playing 3 all through 2020, most of through 2020, all until December. And that last game and I checked it, it was December 31st of 2020 when we played with the expansion. And ever since then, the next 4 games we played in 2021 were all 4th edition. I tried to get a 3rd edition gameplay in there, but now I don't care. I guess I just don't need it anymore. But this was a great expansion, and that's why it's my number 1. But hey folks, what are your top 5 board game expansions of all time? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.